Good morning, everyone. Today we will be talking about drawing supplies that every beginner drawer must have. So to start off, I'm going to say that I'm not sponsored by anyone, so all of my information is just how I feel. To start off, we have any set of drawing pencils that have a range from 4H to 6B. And this can be any brand of pencil because they're just about all the same. Now, in regards to the pencils themselves, 2H, so H kind of stands for a harder lid, so it's a lot lighter when you use it. So this 2H, as you can see, is fairly um, see-through, like you can see quite a bit of the paper through it. Now this 2B, on the other hand, the B stands for a softer lid, so when you use it, more lead gets applied and sticks to the paper. So as you can see, this one, it's a little bit darker. There's not as much change right here, but when you get to drawing and as you draw more, you'll notice that something like this 8B is significantly darker. So once you get to shading, this will be more important. So going on from the pencils, we have something we use to move the graphite around on the paper, and these are called blending stumps. They come in varied sizes. As you can see, you have this large one, a medium, and a small. They have actual gauges or millimeters to them, but the most common ones you'll find are these three, and I'll show you here. You can use these to actually draw. And this is really cool once you get to shading because you don't necessarily want hard lines all the time. Sometimes you want a really soft blend, or you might want to shade or blend in a very small area. So as you can see here, once the lid is loaded onto the stump from use just every couple minutes, you can use them. Um, you can get these lines without, and they're more natural and organic, especially from when you're drawing things that are not cartoonish. When you're going for realistic drawing, you really need to have these things. Um, Now that's when we're adding things to the paper. As far as taking things away from the paper, we have erasers. This one here is called a kneaded eraser. Any brand, once again, is just about the same. Um, I think there is one really bad one out there, but you won't run into it more than likely. It's really good for taking off parts where you might have gone just a little bit too dark. Now, when you get into the smaller areas, there's this eraser called a Tombow, and it's very conveniently shaped, just like all the rest of your pencils and pens, to where you can hold it. It has a very small grip, and the tip of it is very small, so you could erase in a very micro way without having to cut your pencils, I mean your erasers down with an X-Acto knife like some people do. And sometimes you don't really have space to move your eraser left and right, so this electric eraser is really cool. There's a couple of them in the market. They're not too heavily named. I think it takes a couple of AAA batteries. You can put your eraser in one spot, press the button, and it'll erase all the way down to the paper, depending on the type of paper you're using, so you're not constantly scrubbing back and forth. Another thing that you'll need to sketch, to skip to black really quick, is sketch charcoal. The General's brand is very reliable, and this pencil in particular is cool because you don't have to worry about sharpening the pencil. So when you're initially sketching out the darker areas or your outlines, all you do is peel back this rope and peel the paper off. And look how dark that is. I mean, I don't have to worry about the different shades of pencils or anything like that. I get to skip straight to black for the darkest areas. You normally would use this in the end processes of your drawing, just when you want to touch up a couple of things and make them dark, like the blacks of eyes or the shadow, the darkest part of a shadow. And as we get to the end of a drawing as well, another thing you would like to add in may be highlights because your eraser didn't get you far enough. And that's where the pastel chalk pencil comes in. Another one by General's brand. I mean, this coupled with the charcoal, it's a very good combo, and I do like to keep name or the names working together on the same drawing. You might want to put a light highlight in there, and if you want it to be whiter, you could spray fixative over it and then put more white over it, or just use a gel pen. Another thing with getting details that you absolutely have to have as a beginner drawer is a mechanical pencil. They come in variations of 0.7, 0.5 to 0.3. There's more, but these three usually come together in a pack. I don't recommend that you buy this brand in particular, but the performance does vary by brand. I've had some really good ones and I've had some really bad ones. And the more you use them, they do kind of wear out. Like you wouldn't be able to press the button and the lead would either get stuck or it just wouldn't come out at all. Um, it's pretty good for if you're drawing faces, you want to get those really small lines around the eyes. Mechanical pencils are pretty necessary. So, one more thing that I just kind of want to add in that isn't super typical for artists is a paintbrush. So, you can get just about any kind of paintbrush for a couple bucks. They come in sets of like 10, just the really cheap ones. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. This is super good for blending when you want very slight variations. Like you don't want a hard line anywhere. And as you see here, this is barely coming off of the source. And it's really good for adding really soft shadows and blending very well. And one last thing is a white gel pen. It's kind of up to you whether you want it or not. Some people use it, some people don't, but feel free to grab one. I want to thank you all for watching, and hopefully you all enjoyed this video. Let me know, like, subscribe, comment if you like it. Peace.